Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog, welcome back to the car, welcome back to Cornwall, welcome back to late autumn, very late autumn. We are very close to winter and we're heading away from Penzance for once, which is nice. What I wanted to talk about today, what I wanted to talk about in the vlog was why I do a vlog in a car, because it wasn't my idea. Well, it was my idea, but it kind of wasn't at the same time. The whole look and feel, so the music, the font at the beginning, all of that was inspired by someone called Graham Stark, who is one of the co-founders of a Canadian comedy troupe called Loading Ready Run. So Graham Stark and Paul Saunders put together Loading Ready Run, and they are based near Vancouver on Victoria Island. In fact, in Victoria, which is lovely. It's a channel that I've been watching since before it was a YouTube channel. So I've watched a lot of their comedy sketches, and these days they do a lot less comedy sketches and a lot more streaming on Twitch. They've got a lot of game streams, a lot of creative streams up on Twitch. But once a month they do something called Loading Ready Live, which, if you like the sense of humour that we have on this channel, then I can wholly recommend going onto YouTube and looking up the Loading Ready Live VODs, because yeah, it is straight up it's right in my wheelhouse, it's straight up my street. And I think if this channel, if my humour appeals to you, then LRR, Loading Ready Run or Loading Ready Live, is going to appeal to you. But that's not what you need to know. What you need to know is Graham Stark, and he does something called the G vlog, or like the Graham vlog, and I found it absolutely fascinating. It was a guy with a phone, and he would just put it up on a little holder so that he could see himself, and he could see, he could actually hold it away from his body, and he would just be walking around in Victoria or wherever they happened to be. They would go to a convention, and they would record themselves traveling to a convention. One of the vlogs was actually done on a sleeper train in America, and I found it super interesting, super fascinating. And there's a bit of music over the top that's usually very slickly edited, and it is something from a different part of the world, which is familiar in that everyone's talking English and everything's kind of recognizable, but also everything's a lot bigger, because everything in America and Canada is bigger. It's bigger than the United Kingdom. Cars are bigger, roads are bigger, buildings are bigger, the way things are laid out is just bigger. You buy a lot and then you put a building on it, and that's either a house or it's a business, and to get anywhere you need a car. So it's kind of familiar yet alien to someone who lives on a tiny rock in the Atlantic with 76 million other people. Yeah, there's a lot of people in the United Kingdom. It used to be that there was 250 people per square kilometre, but I think that's gone up significantly since I last read that particular stat. So the G-vlogs are kind of like this. Graham will talk about stuff they're doing at Loading Ready Run. They'll talk about stuff that's going on. He'll talk about stuff that's going on in his life. They had, so he and his wife Kathleen had a baby, and that baby has since become a toddler into a small human. And there's just things that happen. So he's recording a vlog, and maybe their kid will need something to eat or drink, and it will just interrupt the vlog. Kind of like how we are driving, but things will happen outside the car which will mean that I have to stop and actually focus on not crashing. In fact, for us, the priority is drive first, vlog second. So I get to talk to you as if you were in the passenger seat, but I do have to focus on driving. That whole idea, and the new like intro screen. The intro screen is very different to how all of the other intro screens for all of our other videos work. We usually have the ODT logo, we have the game title, because I do mostly game videos, and an episode number, and the episode number will shoot off down, the ODT logo will shoot off up, and the game title will sort of disappear down to infinity, and then you get everything started. We don't have that. We have the vlog, and that, I think that just fades out from what I remember, and then there's no blur layer on that either. And then I put a little bit of music from the YouTube library underneath, and yeah, it's just a nice way of doing a vlog, because before what I was doing was sitting in front of the computer. So there is an older version of the vlog where I was just sat in front of a computer with a camera, and the trouble with that is I can never get the lighting right, because I would need to spend a fortune on lighting, an absolute fortune on lighting, in order to really light my living room to a point where I didn't look either ill or bright red or a combination of both. And also I've been using either a GoPro or a Canon camcorder with a wide angle adapter on it, and it's not exactly a flattering look. So I don't like looking at myself in the best of times, so I take all of that and I put it into Premiere, and I'm just me staring at me with the old style vlogs. So I got the 360 camera. I was talking to Dad about the drone. I have a drone, but it shakes. It's a Blade QX350 or XQ350. I can't remember the way the letters go round. It's a 350 old Blade drone, but it's a single monocoque chassis and it shakes like a wet dog. And I was like, I really want to use it for filming. Is there a way of getting around that? And I thought, well, if I put a 360-degree camera on it, and at the time, Insta, the company that make the 1X, which is what you guys are mainly seeing this video on, were doing a deal on the camera. And I was like, well, they're doing a deal on it. It's come down in price. Oh, this is new. Oh, hello, there's roundabout here. Oh, I don't know if there's enough space for a roundabout. Oh, and they've added road humps to a town that didn't need road humps. This is a council making work for itself, I think. Yeah, so I got the 1X and I got it on a sale, and I got the holder with it and the case with it and everything. It is actually a really good camera to have, a 360-degree camera. I wouldn't use it for like just straight filming, but this kind of guerrilla style filming on the go is what it excels at. But I got it for the drone. I didn't get it for this. And then I was like, I wonder if you can use it in the car. So I did. My sister asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I said, I want a picture of the Queen. No, I want I really like a GoPro suction cup, please. And she said, really? Doesn't seem like much. And I was like, no, but I need to put my camera on something. So yeah, I got a GoPro suction cup, and that's you're literally sucked onto the passenger window. The little test, and it worked really well, like super well. The early vlogs, the camera, like the viewport was moving around quite a bit, and James was like, don't do that. So yeah, if you go back to 1 and 2, I think 1 through 6, or anything before the pandemic, the camera does move around a bit. Now it's just a fixed camera. But yeah, just like the style of this vlog, and then I threw some music underneath it. It is based off the G vlog, and they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. I guess if you can imitate someone's style, then why not? But the content is always going to be different. So of course the content's going to be different. I am thousands of miles away from Canada, probably about 5,000 miles away from Canada. Ooh, how big is the planet? I think about a quarter of the way around the planet. So yeah, If you wanted to know where the inspiration for this vlog came from, that is exactly it. I'll link the G vlog down below, because originally it was on the main Loading Ready Run YouTube page, and I think Graham moved it over to its own channel. I haven't been there in a while. I think that the whole lockdown for everyone did a number on a lot of things, and I think the G vlog was one of the ones that I kind of stopped watching, especially when I was going through the Loading Ready Live archives, because it turned out that I missed a bunch of LRL videos, which is fine, it's fair enough. In terms of, so that's basically the whole reason this vlog even exists. I don't like the way I look, and Graham Stark was doing a vlog, and I was like, I really like that, and I just happen to have the equipment. Bingo bango, you get a vlog. Also, it's raining a bit, so I guess the front camera is now covered in little dots. Sorry about that. Can't help Mother Nature. Mother Nature wants to wee on your car, then you're gonna get rain on the windshield. I was thinking about moving the front camera to the other side of the rear view mirror. The downside to that is there is a light sensor on the back of it. The daylight sensor is on the back of it, which controls the headlights, and I don't want to put a camera in the way of that, because I don't want to be driving around with the headlights on all the time. That would be weird, and people would say, why are you being weird? And I'm like, oh, because I put a camera in the way of the thing. It's just like, if it is there, that means that the windscreen wipers take care of the rain. And I can't stand the rain on my window. Good. Well, that is everything that I needed to talk about, I think. If you're watching these as they go out and you're like, oh, your video uploads are a bit sporadic, I think you're getting the same number of videos as you would normally get in a week. But sometimes what I do is I upload a video to YouTube, and then YouTube spends hours converting it. So if you didn't know, when you upload a video to YouTube, what happens is it takes your original, in my case, 2.5 gigabyte MP4 file. So for a normal video game playthrough, for each half-hour episode, I upload a 2.5 hour. 2.5 hour? Jeez, that's a long old video. A 2.5 gigabyte, 30-minute file at 12 megabits per second. That gets sent to YouTube. YouTube says, thank you very much, converts it to an SD version, so that is a 320p video. And then the HD version, the one that everyone really wants, sometimes it takes minutes, sometimes it takes absolute hours to transcode. And what it's doing is it'll do all of the SD versions as individual full videos. So it does an OGG, it does an MP4, it does FLAC, it does a bunch of different like video formats. I know MP4 because that's the one that like Firefox uses. It might even do WEBM as well. So those are full videos. For anything 1080p and above, what YouTube does is it renders the audio separately, so you'll get the same audio track whether you're watching 1080 or 4K, but the video files are then separated into different video files. So if you were to use, and I wouldn't recommend it, but a YouTube downloader, to download something at 2.7 or 4K or 1080, you'll just get the video, you won't get the audio, because YouTube's not going to serve you that. So yeah, sometimes I have to wait longer for the encoding to happen. And I did mention it on an episode of Stranded Deep. There is a reason you only get 1080. Mostly because, for me, I could record in 2K, and it wouldn't actually change the recorded file size, since I record at 75 megabits per second. So the file size between 2K and 1080 would be exactly the same. The downside is that when you encode, you effectively have to double the bit rate, and it's the bit rate that gives a video its file size. So a 1080p video is encoded at 12 megabits per second. If I was going to do a 2.7K or 2K video, I would probably need to double that to 24 megabits per second, which would double the file size that I have to upload from 2.5 gigabytes to 5 gigabytes, which would mean storage would be a problem, and it would also take twice as long to upload. So instead of 1 to 1.5 hours, it would take about 3 hours for me to upload every video, and that's just not practical on a rural Cornish internet connection. Sorry, but since most people watch on a phone anyway, the quality is probably negligible. Yeah, so I have looked at all of that, but it does mean if I am waiting for YouTube to transcode to HD, I won't put a video up, I won't make the video go live, even though I could, until the HD transcoding is done by YouTube. And so I uploaded The Last Stranded Deep on Thursday at about 8 o'clock in the evening, and it hadn't, by the time I went to bed about midnight, it hadn't transcoded into HD. So I was just like, oh no. I was going to look at it first thing in the morning, and I was like, you know what, no, I have work and stuff at that point, so got work, got stuff I need to do. I will just have to do it after I get home from work, and that's exactly why you got a Stranded Deep episode at GMT 5 o'clock, rather than the normal sort of 8-9 o'clock in the evening, 8, 9, 10 usually in the evening. This lad's pins are going up and down on this push bike like nobody's business. I swear you've got more gears on something like that. Oh well, I mean, it's a thing, isn't it? Good. This is interesting. There's a bus here, and there's also a yellow hatching, and I don't know if we can get all the way across. Yes, we can. Don't want to stop on the yellow hatching, they'll charge you money. Good. Excellent. Well, I tell you what, I think that's everything we needed to talk about. So what I'm going to do is say, if you like this video, definitely leave a little like, leave a subscribe. If you do subscribe, click the little bell, because that'll give you notifications when videos go live. And I tell you what, I'll catch you next time.